The silent trap, the human starship Valiant drifted silently through the endless black of space. Its metal frame gleamed under the distant light of stars, steady and calm, as if nothing could disturb its journey. To most, it was just another Terran ship traveling on patrol, but deep inside, the crew felt a strange unease, as if the stars themselves were watching. Captain Elias Reyes stood on the bridge, his eyes locked on the wide display screen. Around him, officers worked at their stations, hands moving quickly over glowing panels. Everything looked normal. The scanners showed empty space, no enemy, no activity. Yet something felt wrong. "Status?" Reyes asked, his voice calm but sharp. "All systems stable, Captain. Engines running at 75%. Shields at full charge. No hostiles detected," reported Lieutenant Sora, the young officer. At sensors still, Reyes didn't relax. He knew space could be silent before the storm. His instincts, sharpened by years of battle, whispered that danger was near. The crew carried on, some joking softly, others quietly focused. The Valiant had been through many missions, but none of them expected what was waiting ahead. Far beyond their scanners, hidden in the shadows of a drifting asteroid field, alien ships floated in silence. They were sleek, dark, and deadly, dozens of warships belonging to the Zorath Empire. Their commanders had been waiting for this moment. The Zorath had studied humanity. They believed humans were young, reckless, and weak compared to the old powers of the galaxy. To them, attacking one Terran ship was nothing but sport. Inside the Zorath flagship, the alien commander, a tall creature with scaled skin and glowing yellow eyes, grinned as he watched the lone human ship on his screen. "Look at it," he hissed to his officers. "So fragile, so exposed, they don't even know we're here. This will be quick. This will be easy." The Zorath fleet spread out, surrounding the asteroid belt like predators around prey. They were careful, cloaking their ships with advanced stealth fields. On the human scanners, they were invisible shadows. Back on the Valiant, Lieutenant Sora frowned. "Captain, I'm picking up something odd. The system shows minor energy spikes, but they disappear when I try to track them." Reyes moved closer. "Show me." The screen displayed faint flashes, too faint to mean much. They could be natural radiation, they could be errors, or they could be something else. The captain's jaw tightened. "Keep watching, don't dismiss it." Minutes passed. Silence filled the bridge, broken only by the hum of the ship. Then, suddenly, the ship's comms system crackled with static. For a moment, everyone froze. "What was that?" asked Chief Engineer Patel. Before anyone could answer, the silence ended. From the void of space, lights appeared, dozens of them, glowing like stars suddenly born. The cloaking fields dropped. Alien warships emerged all around them. The crew gasped. Red alerts screamed through the ship as the computer announced. Multiple hostiles detected. Enemy fleets surrounding. Lieutenant Sora's voice shook as she counted. "Captain, 30 ships, maybe more." The bridge filled with tension. The Valiant was just one ship, outnumbered, outgunned. Every officer knew the odds. On the comm screen, the face of the Zorath commander appeared, his scaled lips pulled into a mocking smile. "Terrans," he said coldly, "you wander where you don't belong. This ship will be your grave." He laughed, and his crew echoed him with cruel hisses. Captain Reyes stood tall, his voice steady. "This is Terran Starship Valiant. You are violating neutral space. If you fire upon us, know that we will not fall quietly." The alien commander laughed harder. "Do you think your little ship can fight us? We will tear you apart, human." The screen cut off. A moment later, alien weapons began to glow, charging with deadly energy. The crew looked to their captain. Fear was in their eyes, but so was trust. They knew he had faced death before. Reyes's voice was calm, but his eyes were sharp as steel. "Prepare for combat. Full power to shields. Engines ready," Captain Lieutenant Sora whispered. "There are too many of them." The captain didn't flinch. "They think this will be simple. They think we're weak." He leaned closer to the command chair, his voice dropping like a growl. "But they have no idea what this ship truly is." The lights on the Valiant flickered, deep systems humming awake. Somewhere in the heart of the ship, a low vibration began, like the growl of a beast stirring in its sleep. The crew felt it, though they didn't understand. The Valiant was not like other ships, hidden. Inside its steel frame was something different, something dangerous outside. The alien fleet unleashed its first wave of fire. Beams of burning plasma cut through space, slamming into the Valiant's shields. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring. The crew held on, bracing themselves. Sparks flew from control panels. The aliens thought victory was already theirs. But Captain Reyes did not break. He whispered into the silence of the bridge, words only his closest crew could hear. They wanted prey. Instead, they woke the beast. The first strike, the first wave of alien fire, tore across the darkness of space. Blazing plasma bolts slammed into the Valiant's shields, wrapping the human ship in a storm of light. The entire vessel shook as if struck by a giant's hand. Metal groaned. Consoles sparked. Crew members gripped their seats, fighting against the sudden shock. "Shields holding at 60%, shouted Lieutenant Sora, her hands racing over the controls. "But they can't take this forever, Captain." Captain Reyes stood firm in the center of the bridge. His eyes remained cold, steady, like a predator watching its prey. "They want to break us quickly," he said. "But we'll show them we are not so simple." Another wave of fire hammered the ship. The bridge lights flickered, and smoke began to rise from a damaged panel. Engineer Patel rushed to contain it, cursing under his breath. "Shields down to 50%, Sora cried. "We're not going to last if this keeps up." On the alien flagship, Commander Zoroth laughed. His scaled mouth twisted into a cruel smile as he watched the human vessel struggle. "Look at them," he hissed to his officers. "Their shields are breaking already. Humans are soft. Their ships are nothing. End this." The alien fleet tightened, its formation preparing to strike again. They were hunters closing in for the kill, confident that the battle would be short. But inside the Valiant, something had begun to stir. The low vibration from the ship's core grew louder, deeper, echoing through the steel halls like the growl of some hidden creature. Crew members looked at each other nervously. They didn't know what was happening, but they could feel it something. Inside the ship was waking Dot. Captain Reyes's eyes narrowed. He turned to his crew. "Activate Beast Protocol." The bridge fell silent. Officers froze. They had heard whispers about this system, a project so secret most thought it was only rumor. A hidden protocol buried deep in the ship's design. "Captain, are you sure?" Patel asked, his voice trembling. Reyes gave a slow nod. "Do it." Sora's hands shook as she entered the command code. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the ship's light shifted, turning a deep crimson. A mechanical roar echoed from the engines, so loud it seemed alive. The Valiant began to change. Armor plates slid across its surface, locking together like scales. Hidden weapon ports opened, glowing with raw power. The smooth Terran ship was gone, replaced by something sharp, jagged, and monstrous. It no longer looked like a machine. It looked like a beast ready to kill. On the alien flagship, Commander Zoroth's smile vanished. His yellow eyes widened. "What is this?" he hissed. "What are they doing?" The Valiant's engines flared with unnatural force. Its movements shifted, no longer slow and predictable, but fast, precise, and aggressive. Like a predator stretching before the hunt. "Target the nearest cruiser," Reyes ordered, his voice calm but filled with steel. The first human strike was unleashed. A beam of pure energy, brighter than a star, roared from the Valiant's cannons. It cut through the void like a blade, smashing into an alien warship. The enemy ship didn't even have time to raise defenses before it. Exploded in a shower of fire and debris. The crew of the Valiant erupted in cheers. For the first time since the ambush began, hope burned in their eyes. "Direct hit," Sora shouted. "Enemy ship destroyed." Reyes didn't smile. His gaze was still locked on the fleet ahead. "Good. Now we show them what humans are capable of." The aliens scrambled in confusion. Their commander roared orders, demanding his fleet regroup. But the Valiant moved with terrifying speed, weaving through plasma fire, returning each shot with beastly precision. Another alien ship fell, then another, the battlefield filled with burning wreckage, each explosion lighting up the void. The Zoroth had believed the human ship was weak prey. Now, panic spread through their ranks. Impossible. Commander Zoroth slammed his clawed hand against his console. "It's just one ship. One ship, on the Valiant's bridge." The crew felt the strange rhythm of the ship's new form. Was like the vessel itself was alive, guiding them, fighting with them. Patel whispered, half in awe, half in fear, "It's not just a ship anymore." Captain Reyes answered without looking away from the battle. His voice was quiet, but it carried across the bridge. It was never just a ship. Another barrage struck the Valiant, but now the shields burned. Brighter, stronger, as if fueled by fury. The ship answered with a swarm of missiles, tearing apart 3 more alien cruisers in a single wave. The galaxy had many predators, but none had expected prey to turn into a monster. The aliens had launched their first strike with laughter, but now silence filled their coms. Fear spread among them, and whispers of retreat began. Reyes leaned forward in his chair. His eyes glowed in the red light of the bridge. "Now," he said softly, almost like a growl, "we strike back." The transformation, the battlefield burned. Alien wreckage floated across the void, torn apart by the sudden fury of the human starship. What had begun as a trap was now turning into a nightmare, but the Valiant was not finished. Inside the bridge, the red light still glowed across the crew's faces. Every officer felt the vibration in the ship's metal frame, steady, powerful, alive. The Beast Protocol was fully active now, but what it truly meant was only beginning to reveal itself. "Captain," Patel said, staring at the readings. His voice shook with disbelief. "The systems are changing. Weapons are charging faster than design limits. Shields are regenerating on their own. This shouldn't be possible." Reyes did not look surprised. His eyes were fixed on the screen, where alien warships scrambled to regroup. "It was never supposed to be possible," he said calmly. "But necessity creates monsters." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. They had trusted their ship. But now they felt something different, like they were sitting inside a creature of steel and fire. Outside, the Valiant's transformation continued. Armor shifted again, sharp edges folding out like claws. The ship's main hull stretched, revealing glowing lines across its body, like veins filled with molten light. Its engines flared brighter, each burst like the heartbeat of a predator. The alien commander Zoroth stared at the human vessel on his display, his scaled hands trembling. "No," he growled, "it's not a ship anymore. What have these humans built?" His officers hissed nervously, unsure whether to attack or flee. Reyes stood from his chair. His voice carried across the bridge with authority. "Bring us into the center of their formation." Sora's eyes widened. "Captain, that's suicide. They'll surround us completely." Reyes's jaw tightened. "That's the point." The Valiant surged forward, straight into the heart of the alien fleet. Plasma bolts rained down, filling space with fire. But the transformed human ship moved like no machine ever should. It twisted and darted, dodging shots with unnatural grace. On the bridge, the crew felt their ship move beneath them as if it had instincts of its own. It was like being carried by a predator that knew exactly when to strike. "Fire all batteries," Reyes commanded. The Valiant unleashed its fury. Beams of energy cut through multiple alien cruisers at once. Swarms of missiles launched from hidden bays, exploding across the enemy line. The battlefield lit up with destruction, shockwaves rolling. Through space, the alien fleet roared in confusion. Some ships tried to retreat, but the Valiant pursued them like a hunter chasing prey. Its movements were relentless, its weapons unending. One alien officer cried out, his voice trembling over open coms. "It fights like a beast." The words spread through the Zoroth ranks, turning their fear into panic. Commander Zoroth slammed, his claws against the control panel. "Silence. It is only one ship. Destroy it." But even he could not hide the fear in his voice. The Valiant dove between two heavy battleships. Its armor shifted again, plates sliding to reveal hidden cannons. A single blast of concentrated energy tore one battleship apart. The second tried to fire back, but the Valiant twisted and ripped through its hull with a barrage of missiles, leaving nothing but broken fragments. On the bridge, the crew was silent, their eyes wide in awe. "This," Patel whispered, "this is not war, this is slaughter." Reyes's voice was calm, but there was something darker in his tone now. They chose this fight. Now they will learn the price. Suddenly, the alien flagship turned its guns toward the Valiant. Zorath himself commanded the fire, unleashing the largest barrage yet. Bolts of plasma crashed against the human ship, shaking it violently. For a moment, the shields flared dangerously, almost collapsing. "Shields at 20%. Sora shouted. The crew braced for impact. Smoke filled the bridge. Sparks rained from broken panels. It seemed for a moment that the alien flagship might succeed. But then, deep inside the Valiant, something awakened. The ship roared. It wasn't just the engines or weapons, it was something else, something alive. A thunderous sound echoed through the hull, like the bellow of a beast refusing to die. The crew froze, their hearts pounding. They all heard it. "Captain," Patel whispered, "did the ship just roar?" Reyes's eyes glowed in the crimson light. He didn't deny it. The Valiant surged forward, ignoring the enemy fire. Its weapons glowed brighter than ever before, burning with impossible energy. With one final strike, it fired everything it had into the alien flagship. The blast tore through Zoroth's ship, splitting it apart in an explosion that shook the battlefield. Silence followed. The alien fleet broke. Their formation collapsed. Ships scattered in every direction, running from the monster that had destroyed their leader. On the human bridge, the crew sat in stunned silence. They were alive, victorious but shaken. Rhea stood tall, his voice steady as ever. Remember, this moment, they thought we were weak. They thought attacking us was simple. Now they know better. He looked out into the endless dark of space. His final words were quiet, almost a whisper, but they carried the weight of a predator's promise. Humanity is not prey. Humanity is the beast. The beast unleashed the wreckage of the alien flagship, burned like a dying sun. Shattered metal drifted across the void, glowing in the reflection of distant stars. Silence followed the explosion, but it was not peace. It was fear. The Zoroth fleet, once confident and proud, was broken. Their commander was gone. Their strongest ship had been torn apart by the human vessel they had mocked only minutes ago. Now the hunters had become the hunted. On the bridge of the Valiant, the crew watched as enemy ships scattered in panic. Some turned to flee, their engines burning bright as they tried to escape. Others fired wildly, their shots missing as fear clouded their aim. Captain Reyes did not smile. His eyes were locked on the screen, calm and unblinking. They thought they could trap us, he said quietly. Now we show them the meaning of fear. The Valiant roared forward, engines blazing like the wings of a monster in flight. Its weapons shifted again, reconfiguring as if the ship itself sensed the prey's movements. Target those fleeing ships, Reyes commanded. Sora nodded, her hands racing over the controls. Weapons locked. Fire. A volley of missiles streaked across the battlefield. One alien cruiser exploded instantly, its wreckage tumbling into the darkness. Another was struck through the engines, leaving it drifting helplessly as flames consumed its hull. The surviving aliens cried out over open comms. Their voices shook with terror. "It's chasing us." One screamed, "It's not a ship, it's alive." Another voice, broken with fear, begged, "Retreat. Retreat before it tears us apart." But there was no safety. The Valiant moved like a predator in open space, circling, striking, never giving its enemies time to breathe. Each attack was precise, merciless, unstoppable. On the bridge, Patel whispered what everyone was already thinking. "It doesn't just fight, it hunts." The crew felt the truth in his words. They weren't just in a battle anymore. They were inside a beast, a war machine that had no mercy. Reyes's voice cut through the silence. "Let them run. We'll hunt them one by one." The ship obeyed. Its engines growled like thunder, closing in on a fleeing destroyer. Alien cannons fired desperately, filling the void with streaks of plasma. But the Valiant weaved through them, dancing like a predator avoiding claws. It struck back with a single beam of energy, slicing the destroyer in half. The explosion lit up the crew's faces in red and gold. Another alien ship tried to hide within the wreckage field, but the Valiant scanned it instantly. Its claws' massive railgun projectiles tore through the debris, smashing the enemy apart. Every kill added to the growing terror. The aliens no longer fought for victory. They fought for survival. In the middle of the chaos, Commander Zoro, second in command, shouted through the comms of his retreating cruiser, "We must regroup. It cannot fight forever. It is only one ship." But even as he spoke, the Valiant appeared before them, its hull glowing like molten fire. For a moment, it seemed to stare directly at them. The alien officer froze, his breath caught in his throat. Then the human ship roared, the sound carried across space, through the channels, into the hearts of every Zoroth warrior. It was not the sound of a machine. It was the cry of a beast unleashed. The alien officer screamed. His last words echoed before his ship was annihilated. Back on the Valiant's bridge, the crew were silent. They were warriors, trained for battle, but even they felt chills crawling down their spines. Their ship had become something far greater and far more terrifying than they had ever imagined. Sora whispered, "Captain, do you hear it? It's like it wants this. It wants to fight." Reyes didn't answer at first. His gaze stayed fixed on the stars ahead, where the last of the alien fleet fled like scattered prey. Finally, he spoke, his voice calm but filled with weight. "It does, and so do we." The Valiant surged forward once more. Alien ships continued to fall, burning, broken, and silent. Some were torn apart in seconds, others hunted down slowly, their screams carrying through the coms before they were cut short by the time the battle ended. The void was littered with wreckage. Fire and debris floated like a graveyard of steel. Only a few alien ships managed to escape, retreating into hyperspace. On every surviving vessel, one truth burned into the minds of the Zoroth. Humanity was no prey. The bridge of the Valiant fell into silence as the last enemy ship disappeared. Crew members sat at their stations, exhausted but alive. Their hearts pounded with adrenaline. Their hands shook, but their eyes carried something new, something fierce. Patel leaned back in his chair, his voice unsteady. We destroyed an entire fleet." Sora shook her head slowly. "No, the Valiant destroyed them. We just held on." Reyes finally sat down, his face calm but unreadable. He knew what this battle meant. The galaxy would hear of it. The legend of the beast ship would spread, and no alien commander would ever see humanity as weak again. He spoke softly, more to himself than to anyone else. "Let them whisper in fear. Let them remember this night, because the beast of Earth has awoken." The bridge fell silent again, the red light glowing like the heart of a predator. After the storm, the battlefield was silent now. No more plasma fire, no more explosions, only drifting wreckage and broken pieces of the once proud Zoroth fleet. The human starship Valiant floated in the middle of the destruction. Its armor glowed faintly, red lines pulsing across its surface like veins of molten fire. To any who looked upon it, it no longer seemed like a ship. It looked like a beast resting after the hunt. Inside the bridge, the crew sat in silence. Their breathing was heavy. Sweat clung to their faces. The air smelled faintly of smoke from overloaded systems, but they were alive. Against impossible odds, they had survived. Lieutenant Sora finally broke the silence. Her voice was quiet, almost afraid. "It's over, Captain. The last of them are gone." Reyes leaned forward in his chair, his face lit by the glow of dying fires on the screen. His voice was calm, steady, but there was something dangerous in it now. "No," he said. "It's not over. It's only begun." The crew looked at him, confused. Engineer Patel frowned. "What do you mean? The fleet is destroyed. The trap failed." Reyes's eyes narrowed. "The ones who escaped will tell the story. They will spread the fear, and soon the whole galaxy will know what happens when you try to make prey of humans." The words sank into the crew's minds. they realized the truth. This was no small skirmish. This was the beginning of a legend. Outside, the wreckage of alien ships drifted slowly past the Valiant. Shattered hulls spun in silence, sparks flickering like dying stars. Among the debris floated bodies of alien warriors, frozen in the cold void, their eyes still wide with terror. Somewhere in the distance, a single surviving Zoroth cruiser limped away, its engines burning weakly. Its crew was silent, broken. They carried only one thing back with them: fear. On board, whispers spread among them. It wasn't a ship. It was alive. It was a beast. It roared. They swore never to forget the sound, and they swore to tell others. Back on the Valiant, Patel finally stood from his chair. His hands were trembling. "Captain, we have to talk about what happened. The Beast Protocol. It's more than just technology. That roar, those movements, it's like the ship had instincts." The rest of the crew nodded, uneasy. None of them could forget how the Valiant had fought, how it had seemed to know exactly when and where to strike. Reyes rose to his feet, his gaze locked on the endless stars outside. "You're right, the Valiant has changed. Or maybe it was always this way, waiting for the right moment." Sora whispered, "But if it's alive, what does that make us?" The captain's voice was low, almost a growl. "It makes us its hunters, and together we will remind this galaxy of what humans truly are." Silence followed, heavy and thick. The crew felt both pride and fear. They had fought with their ship, not just as pilots and engineers, but as part of something larger. Something alive. Suddenly, a message flashed across the comms screen. A distress call, faint but clear. "Unknown vessel, this is the colony ship Aurora. We've received reports of Zoroth fleets moving across the sector. Please, if anyone is out there, we need help." The crew looked to their captain. The message was weak, frightened. Reyes's face hardened. "Set course." "We answer." Sora hesitated. "Captain, after what we've been through, the ship needs repairs, and the crew needs rest." Reyes turned to her, his eyes burning with determination. "The Zoroth won't stop here. They'll go after the weak, the colonies, the innocent. And now they'll come with fear, desperate to strike back before the legend grows too strong." His voice dropped lower. "That's why we can't stop. The galaxy must learn quickly. Every Zoroth ship must carry the same message back to their empire." Patel nodded slowly. "That message being..." Reyes's gaze returned to the stars. His final words were cold, heavy and unforgettable. "That humanity is no prey. We are the beast that hunts back." The crew said nothing. They didn't need to. The truth echoed in their hearts. The Valiant's engines roared to life once more, the sound deep and powerful, like a predator rising for its next hunt. The ship turned, cutting through the wreckage field, leaving behind the graveyard of the Zoroth fleet. Somewhere in the shadows of the galaxy, whispers had already begun. Stories of a human starship that transformed into a monster. A ship that roared like a beast and destroyed an entire fleet alone. The legend would spread, and with every telling, fear would grow. The galaxy had mocked humanity. It had called them weak, young, and reckless. But now they would never forget, because the beast of Earth had awakened, and it was hungry.